Welcome members to another weekly update. It's Sunday the 18th after the market closed on Friday the 16th. Before we start, a quick word because time is ticking on now. Seats are filling up very fast. You should have got all the invitations that I'm going to send you by now to attend 30th of June to 1st and 2nd, although you can come any day you want, but the day you really must not miss is the Sunday. And you've got a special price as you're obviously members already, even though live events aren't included. You do not want to miss what's happening on Sunday. This is the best system I've ever come across. It's such a game changer. I honestly don't know if I'm going to be doing any more seminars in the UK as a result, because it's just phenomenal. I'm going to be doing recording of the event, but that's only going to be available to people who are members or paid up for this event. So if you can't make it, then the DVD option is going to be available for members only. But that's the only way you are going to get hold of it, frankly, because this is one I do not want to be spread far and wide. So don't miss that. Let's move on to what we're looking at here, which is the individual trades that I've got open. FXY, the short yen trade, that's definitely giving us a run for the money. But shorting is volatile, and many would argue is the hardest way to trade. But this was too irresistible, and that's why it became a make mama millionaire trade. So remember, I'm going by the weekly chart here, and so that means the week isn't over until Friday. So I'm not looking at this until Friday, and you notice that there hasn't been a single close yet above the 40-week line, although we got very close last week. And this week we had a daily close above the 200-day, but that's not what I'm looking at. So you can see here we've got a real nail biter here. This last week we had this huge, the intra-week price got way above there. But here's why, if I'm looking at a weekly chart, I'm going by the intra-week close. If I'm looking at a daily chart, it depends on what's made me open the trade. If I'm looking at a daily chart, then I'm going by the intraday. I'm not going to pay any attention to the intraday close. And in this case, I'm going by the weekly chart, so I'm not going to pay any attention to the intra-week closing, i.e. I'm not paying attention until Friday. But as you can see, and here's why. Because during the week, you could have easily closed out that position, but by the end of the week, it's all fine again. And this represents now for the yen the second assault on its rapidly descending 40-week moving average now. That's an aggressive descent. It's now failed twice, and nothing reason why it can't have another go at it. But this is now its second failure to try and get back above the water level, so to speak. Excuse me. So now let's look at the daily chart. We get a bit more detail. There's that daily close. It was just a hair above that 200-day, a real nail biter. But as you can see, and it touched up during the intraday up there. But then, now here's what was so bearish for the yen, which is good for this trade, is that look what happened on that day. It got right up there, but look where it closed. There were sellers came in, that means, during the day and beat the yen back down. And then what the next good clue is that the very next day, look at that huge red volume there sticking out like a sore thumb. The very next day after it got beaten back, look at that selling there, massive drop, closed near the bottom of its range. But the main news is a big drop from one day to another on massive selling volume. So that's very bearish, and it obviously has a little rebound there the next day. So far, this trade is kind of from where it was opened. I think it's maybe a little bit around the sort of break-even mark, but fine. This is still game on, and I'm really liking the action, the setup that's going on here, and this really is where patience is required, and maturity and discipline. Some of the best trades I've had have really tested those emotions, and in the end, this one is looking no different. If it's failed here now again, the next drop down could be significant. We also had some good news from the Caterpillar trade, which is still open, chugging ahead very nicely and benefiting from what I mentioned on the other video here, which was like the Dow Industrials, money shifting into the Dow Industrials now away from the tech stocks. And we had a new high actually on Friday. So we got beautiful action there. I was in, as you know, I was in down here, and I was patient enough to not take the money and run when it got back here because it was a bond support. As you can see, the support line there, all it was doing was pulling back and bouncing off support. Off it goes again onto what might be a new break of resistance there. New support could be about 106. I'm going to raise my gain, lock the profits in. I'm going to say Let's make this about 102, 103, something like that. I don't want to lose all that profit because that's a good chart. What else do we have here? TTPH, I think that's just happily just chugging along sideways, waiting for its average to catch up, which is still doing. Nothing wrong with that chart there. Really nice entry point here, actually. Still, if you know, I mean, even though I was in sort of down here, but this is turning into a gift of an entry. Let's look at the weekly chart. You can see all the upside that why I was so keen to get on this trade, because it's such an orderly chart. Once it gets above, it stays up. Once it gets below, it really stays below, and it has a beautiful flat disciplined base there on tight range of selling and buying. Gets above slowly, have this nice breakout, and all this is just a healthy little pullback, and that's what we're seeing on the daily chart here, and it's just going sideways. If nothing else, and this is the main thing, it gives you a very tight stop, tight stop there for just getting at that level. What else do we have here? Things I was looking at. Then I've been mentioned before, STX. This one is sort of hanging in there. It's the main thing. It's not below its 200-day yet. Although this could be this could constitute a break of support there. The main thing was a tight stop. So I don't know if you're going to be in here, then I would make the stop there, or if it was stopped out there, then there's really no loss at all. That's really the name of the game. Let's check in with a couple of things I've been looking at. IMI. Okay, there's one you see there. That's one I was watching there to see what happened. It's kind of the daily close there is below that 200 days, so I don't like that. That's not a healthy pullback. Let's check in on gold. I always get questions about gold. This is, as far as I can see, there's still just like a little uptrend, just like moving along there nicely. As long as this thing stays above the 200-day, I think it's fine. But more importantly, it stays in this sort of steadily going sideways channel there. And there is the pound. This was really just a big old pullback after its healthy breakout and heavy volume back above the 200-day line, and onwards it moves higher. So that's looking that's fine there. I want to check in on bonds, because bonds are a bigger, more sophisticated market, and if there's any kind of corrections ahead, they might be starting to tell us something. The uptrend continues with the bond market. The sophisticated money could be starting to shift into bonds now. In fact, we see a heavy volume update there. So that's looking increasingly like a good trade there, or just an indicator of what bonds are doing. So I will leave off there for now. I'm not going to open up any new trades because there's enough on the horizon, for one, and two, because I've got a seminar to plan for and get moving on that. Preparing the presentation of that, which is going to be superb. And also, as I've mentioned before, the market is, there are funny goings on in the Nasdaq here, and we are entering a volatile month or two with July and August. Although the system I'm going to explain is completely unaffected by that, because it's such a short-term trading system. So I will check out for now. Speak to you next time, and I do hope to see you a week on Friday. Speak to you soon.